I know our odds. Maybe it's time to consider the easy way out.
You've got a problem. You crash-landed on a strange alien planet, and you're the only one from your crew who survived. You found the large, tire-shaped base you were looking for, and by large, I mean ginormous. It's the height of a tower. But in order to get it rolling again, and I do mean literally rolling, you're going to need help. You need more pairs of hands. You need people to help you mine resources and make food and protect the base against radiation. Because if you don't get it moving, the soon-to-be rising sun will roast you. Really, you have no option left. You need to clone yourself. This is the setup for The Alters, the new game from Polish developer 11-Bit Studios, which has built a reputation for lacing base-building strategy games with tricky moral dilemmas and dark subject matters. In This War of Mine, it was managing a base of civilians living in a war zone. In Frostpunk, it was establishing the last city on a frozen Earth. Here, in The Alters, it's creating clones in order to get yourself home. And the question is, how far are you willing to go in order to survive? The central conceit in The Alters is cloning then. On board your space-age, tire-shaped base is a quantum computer, which is capable of looking through the memories of someone's life and then marking points on a timeline where it could have changed or gone a different way. In this case, the life is Jan Dolski's, a fairly unremarkable person who signed up for an experimental mission to space in a last-ditch attempt at some glory. It's his timeline we select and create alternate versions of him from. To begin with, this is a guided decision, but you have a freer choice over which Jan to create later on. Initially, we're guided towards a moment in Jan's life where, at 19 years old, he decided to move away from home from a violent father, and in doing so, leave his mother alone, which is something he feels enormously guilty about. What would have happened if he hadn't moved away?
So, I was wondering, how much more did I not know about Mom?
Now, finally, he can find out by creating the clone who lived that path, Technician Jan. There's always a mechanical skill associated with a new Jan, in this case the ability to repair things quickly. There's also Dr. Jan, a scientist Jan, a botanist Jan, and a few more, and each has a distinct personality and a different lived experience, based on decisions of their own. It's a minor marvel how actor Alex Jordan has managed several appreciably different performances of the same character for the game. Technician Jan selected then, we head to the womb module in the base to wait for him to quick grow. This is sci-fi weirdry, and the game leans fully into it, managing to express a sense of humour about what's going on without ever lampooning itself, which takes some skill. And while the clones border on stereotype as ultra-nerdy scientists or gruff and burly technicians, and veer into cliché with lives dominated by alcoholic fathers and work chosen over relationship moments, they do develop into deeper and more rounded characters that have a few surprising revelations of their own. They're also the game's avenue for prodding and probing your morals, which it does constantly, and the conversations you have will shape their mental well-being. Alters are the heart of the game, hence the name of the game, and much more than the gimmick we feared they would be, or a mechanical tool to exploit, although to what degree you agree or disagree with that sentiment is a theme running through the game. Then comes mechanical pressure, something 11-Bit Studios has become a sadistic master of, and you can feel the lessons of Frostpunk and This War of Mine in full effect here. As in Frostpunk, there's an apocalyptic overarching threat getting closer by the day. Here the sun is rising, and if you're caught in it, even inside your base, it will burn you to a crisp like a vampire at dawn. You need to move your base and stay in the dark, a goal that's replicated but varied to some degree for each of the game's 3 acts, though in order to do so, you'll have to overcome some obstacles first. There's a bridge of lava, for example, so you'll need to discover and create the technology that you'll need to cross it. While we're trying to do this, you'll contend with day-to-day survival, which involves producing food to eat, repairing the base, and protecting everyone from radiation, and ensuring alters are physically and mentally well by building an assortment of rooms for them, such as gyms, social rooms, and simulated parks with benches. By the way, these rooms are visually adorable, appearing side-on like a futuristic doll's house, and packed with dinky detail. There are gadgets and posters and lived-in detail wherever you look, and there's life and interaction as alters exercise or listen to music there. The developer has even put actual films in the game that you can watch with your alters, and there's a beer pong minigame too. It's a genuine treat nosing around each new room for the first time. More pressure piles on top of this. You'll communicate with another faction of people back on Earth linked to the corporation you're working for, and each of the people you talk to will have demands of their own, basically secondary missions to undertake. Alters will also give secondary missions to you, and usually they will be diametrically opposed to what someone else wants. It's never a case of pleasing everyone in the game, because conflict is unavoidable. Then there's the outside, the other half of the game, the third-person, over-the-shoulder, action exploration sections. Here you'll venture out onto the planet's surface to look for resources and establish mining pipelines there. And these sections, a new invention for 11-bit, work very well, adding a different perspective that helps underline the sci-fi setting of the game. The planet's sweeping vistas of low-hanging moons and mist-clung rocks and lava pools and its strange magical minerals that warp the air all contribute to a feeling of soapy, romantic sci-fi. Mysterious alien anomalies shimmer in and out of view, and synths warble speculatively in your ear. It's a Mass Effect kind of fiction, a familiar yet fantastical one. Primarily, you're out there looking for the resources your base will run on, for deep deposits of metals, minerals, or organics you build things with and keep everyone alive with. You need to first find them, then drop a bunch of scanners to locate the mining point, then link the mining platform to your base via a pylon daisy chain. There's some light puzzling elements at work here, basically. You might also need to research a grappling hook or drill to get there, and make a flashlight weapon of sorts to deal with anomalies. It's not quite combat, but not far off. Exploration is gently absorbing and very atmospheric then. Individually, these elements work great. The base building, survival, clone management, and exploration. But it's when you put them all together that they become harder to deal with. One step forward often involves several other steps sideways, and a fair bit of resource micromanagement, and particularly towards the end of an act in the game, when the pressure ramps up, it can be difficult to manage all the things you've been asked to do, unless you fiddle with the difficulty settings, that is. Within this maelstrom of pressure, though, there are some brilliant quality of life features for mitigating the burden. It's really neat how time speeds up when you're applying yourself to a task, for instance. Time, incidentally, is of crucial import here. There are only so many hours in the day, and if you're caught outside past nightfall, powerful radiation will strike. If you stay up past your bedtime too, you'll exhaust yourself and have to sleep later in the morning to compensate for it. Time is always of the essence. It's also a nice touch that alters suggest doing other tasks after finishing one, and all that you need to do is either accept or deny this with a press of a button, saving you a trip through the menus and some thinking time to achieve the same thing. You can manage build queues from anywhere and assign alters to jobs from anywhere. There's even a semi-automated system whereby you can set thresholds for certain goods to always be produced, which is invaluable for keeping everyone fed and for producing essential goods. In the alters, you can feel the micromanagement lessons that 11-bit has learned. But they don't completely alleviate the game of repetitive busy work. You'll still find yourself going in and out of the menus a lot, trying to figure out how to juggle everything you need to do, and the on-the-ground exploration sections wear thin the longer an act itself wears on. They're structured in a way that you will have to return to them because some areas will be inaccessible without newly researched technology, but because things like anomaly presence also increases as acts go on, so does the resistance you'll face there. Dealing with anomalies is easy enough. Some you can simply run around, but light blasting them drains your suit's battery, which you'll also need for your grappling hooks, so an abundance of them can quickly drain your battery, forcing you to either craft a spare battery pack, which takes resources, or run back to an outpost to recharge, which is annoying. Plus, having so many to deal with removes any kind of alien mystique anomalies once had, and it exacerbates the already laborious nature of to and froing outside. It often becomes a chore. The Altars is a game that requires some perseverance to push through then, which in a way matches the perseverance the clone crew must display, but it's easy to imagine people being put off by it. The cyclical nature of the acts doesn't help in that it's disheartening to enter a new area knowing you have to do it all again, though it does get easier as better technologies are researched. You'll be glad you persevered though. There's something startlingly unique about what 11-Bit Studios does in its games and the moral quandaries it puts in, and this clone story in the Altars is no exception. It takes us to strange places and prods and probes and makes you think about what you value in life. It's uneven at times and some ideas feel underdeveloped, but it's worth remembering that this merging of ideas is new, and that's ultimately what will draw players to it. In summary then, the Altars achieves something tense and new by merging strategy, base building, and third-person exploration and a sci-fi story about cloning yourself, but repetition and complicated busywork mar the overall effect. Thank you for watching this video review of The Altars. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a like, subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games, and why not check out this other review that is on screen and clickable right now. Goodbye.